Happy Tuesday to you and happy Super Bowl week to you here on WagerTalk Extra. We're here each and every week reminding you that no matter what sport you're cashing on, that money's all going to spend the same. And not to get lost in the shuffle of the big game coming on Sunday, we have some PGA to talk this week. We have a huge UFC event coming this weekend, and might even squeeze in a little rugby. But don't worry, you Super Bowl fans. We're also going to be talking novelty props with my man Andy Lang to end the week, but plenty to get into before that. I'm your host, Dan Alexander. Happy to be here with you, and we're kicking off the week with the aforementioned prop master himself, Andy Lang, going to join us here at the top to talk a little PGA. And this weekend's PGA event is just one of these true spectacles in the sport. If you're a fan of the Happy Gilmore movie, it's basically plays itself out in the Waste Management Open each and every year. And adding to it is the fact that the Super Bowl is held in Arizona this year. So without any further ado, let's welcome in my guest, Andy Lang, kicking us off this week. And Andy, this is for golf fans and non-golf fans alike. You just need to tune into the spectacle that is the Waste Management Open, right?
Yeah, it's a party that there happens to be a golf tournament at. It's one of the craziest. It's not one of the craziest golf events of the year. It's one of the craziest sporting events of the year. They literally just built a golf course in the middle of the desert for no reason other than the land was dirt cheap. That's legitimately why they put a golf course there, because nobody wanted the land. We're talking about the 16th hole, the iconic 16th hole that has become so popular. They had to build a stadium around it to hold all the people. You're going to have over 500,000 people visit this event from Thursday through Sunday. And the 16th hole is where you will see complete party, anarchy, chaos. You will see people passed out. You will see people dressed in costumes. The gates open like at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. and it's a bad rush to get there. Saturday in particular will be crazy. The golfers embrace it. You'll see props. And if there is a hole-in-one, you will see the entire hole get pelted with beer bottles and beer cans. This is what happened when Sam Ryder had the hole-in-one last year. And this is the only time you're going to get away with it in golf as a fan. They embrace it. It's absolutely insanity. It's now become a bucket list for sports visitors. So it all revolves around this one hole. And on top of that, the golfers love this place. And so what you have now is a stacked field. You have some of the best golfers in the world. I believe 23 out of the top 24 golfers are going to be playing here. So you have an amazing event. It coincides with the Super Bowl, and you have a stacked field. And the legend of why the 16th hole became so popular and such a party is it's close to a nearby college, and the college kids would go there and party. And the legend has it that there was a TGI Fridays beer tent near the 16th hole. And because it was closest to the entrance, and because it was the only place around that sold beer, that's where everyone congregated. Everyone drank profusely because they were in college and all at the same spot, and they didn't want to walk around. So they just stayed by the beer tent, which happened to be by the 16th hole. That is the legend of how the 16th hole started. Of course, it was because of debauchery and college kids.
Man, that's probably the only beautiful thing that probably has ever been started by a TGI Fridays, to be fair. And now the legend
and the mudslide.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't sell the mudslide short. All right, so we know at this Waste Management Open, you can always bet the over on beverages deleted, especially around that 16th hole. But let's find some actionable info here for the folks. That's what it's all about here on WagerTalk Extra. And if people are thinking, hey, I'm just going to get a little easy ride, maybe take one of these big-time favorites and just ride them to a title or, maybe a ticket cash, that's where you come in, Andy. What are we thinking this week for maybe a player that you could maybe get tripped up by? Maybe you don't want to be putting a big part of your bankroll on one of these top favorites. What are you eyeing, Andy?
A lot of huge names. Rory McIlroy is going to be playing here. Scheffler, Finau, Schauffele. I'm going to be worried about Justin Thomas this week. He has incredible course history here. 8th, 13th, 3rd, and 3rd his last 4 years here. He has not had a good start to the 2023 season. He's played in 2 tournaments. He finished 25th in both of those, but one of the 25th, there was only 37 golfers that played that week. So that's a terrible finish. In this field, he is only 42nd best in total strokes gained. His putting has not been good, and his driving accuracy has been all over the place. This is a loaded field, and I think people are going to recognize the name Justin Thomas. They're going to see his course history here, but his current form is not good. You want to avoid him in your DraftKings lineups because there's so many other big names, and there's no way I'm going to be betting on him in head-to-heads or outright. So look for Justin Thomas to struggle once again this week.
He's looking Justin Thomas to maybe get caught in the mudslide. Keep him out of those lineups. So if that's one guy we want to avoid on these DraftKings lineups or just on your betting tickets alone, what do you think? You have a darling for us that could maybe slide in, a maybe off the radar golfer that you can maybe get into some of those daily fantasy lineups, or one that you can maybe get some long shot tickets home on. It's DraftKings darling time. And what are you thinking, Andy Lang?
Sure. Well, this is one DraftKings darling that I will have on my lineup, and I will have a free download on WagerTalk.com with my favorite DraftKings lineup. So it's free. You can just go grab that on my profile. But I'm going to start my lineup with Keith Mitchell. It always comes down to putting with this guy. He can hit the ball a mile. Sometimes he doesn't know where it's going to land, but he can hit the ball a mile. But I really like how he has played in his last few tournaments, and he's only 7,400. So we're looking at Keith Mitchell. He had a really good 4th place finish last week. 3 weeks ago, he finished 22nd. And this guy finished 10th here last year. Before that, he missed the cut, but he had really good putting stats last week. He was in the top 30 in putting, and his putting obviously worked last year. So we know this guy is going to be able to drive the shorter par 4, the 17th hole. We know he's going to be able to hit it a mile on these par 5s and take advantage of that. If his putter is just even a little bit competent this week, like it was last week and like it was this year, he's going to return big dividends at 7,400. So Keith Mitchell is my DraftKings darling, who I'll be starting off my lineup with this week.
Keith Mitchell might be the DraftKings darling, but his headshot can't hold a candle to yours on that graphic. I'm going to bring it up every single time we see it, Andy, because it is truly alluring. Speaking of headshot, how about a little head-to-head matchup that you have here for the folks? You kind of alluded to it when we were talking player to trip up, or a player that could trip you up, rather. You said maybe don't be putting JT in any of your head-to-head matchups to come out on top. Go a little bit further and let the folks know a play that you'll be betting yourself.
We're going to fade Justin Thomas, and I'm going to take Xander Schauffele to finish ahead of Justin Thomas in a head-to-head matchup. He had the withdrawal at the Tournament of Champions when he had back spasms. He took a week off. He came back, and we were worried about, well, is he completely healed? Well, yes, it looks like, because he finished 3rd that week. He played the very next week and finished 13th. So you've got really good finishes, bouncing back after the back injury. And he did play back-to-back weeks. He took a week off, so he should be fine, rested, and healthy. This guy's finished 2nd and 3rd the last 2 years here. I think the books are missing Justin Thomas and the current form that he's in. Schauffele seems to be healthy, in good form. He's got great course history here. It's a very fair price. So Xander Schauffele over Justin Thomas, my best head-to-head bet this week.
Going with Schauffele over Thomas here. All kinds of actionable info for you. And Andy, before we let the folks go, I was floored when we were getting ready for this show, and you told me about the package that they have worked up for you. Super Bowl and Waste Management combo. We talked what a beautiful things these things are colliding. Well, let them know the price on this. You have a 5% play posted up right now, 20-8 on run on these NFL 5%ers. We've been cashing on them all year long, and they can get your entire Super Bowl slate and Waste Management slate for how much?
Well, it's $25. You'll get the 5% play that's up right now. And the two events go hand in hand. They're in the same state. They're in the same area. They're both going to be massive parties. And when NFL is over, we're going to be looking at a lot of these sports to replace it. Golf has been huge for me since I've been at WagerTalk, and this year's no different. We've had 5 tournaments. I've been profitable in all 5 tournaments. So we've returned profit every single time. So we thought, what a good idea to just open up people to some of these golf plays. So let's include it with the NFL 5%. No promo code needed. You just need to go get the NFL 5% play, and you'll get all of the golf plays as well as that free download on favorite DFS lineups. So let's do the first ever golf and Super Bowl combo pack at WagerTalk.
The most WagerTalk Extra package that we have worked up in quite some time. Hopefully you enjoy the Waste Management Open, and hopefully you're going to be cashing in with Andy. $25, a 5% play alone, going to run you 35. So chop 10 off of that and get all the plays for the weekend. You cannot beat that. Terrific deal there. So Andy, you're going to be back with us tomorrow. We're going to be looking at a heck of a slate in the UFC this weekend. UFC 285 is loaded. We'll talk a little UFC with Andy Lang tomorrow. We'll also be joined by SportsMemo's Nick Borman to get his thoughts on the PGA event this weekend. And then, again, in true WagerTalk Extra form, we're going deep down the board with Kevin Dolan, the Irishman. No, not boxing. We're going to talk a little rugby with Kevin Dolan. Looking forward to that right here on WagerTalk Extra. We'll be back tomorrow with a full slate. For Andy Lang, I'm Dan Alexander, and we'll see you Wednesday on WagerTalk Extra.